Hi, I'm Dave. This is the Cyderbaby podcast. I'm speaking to Steve of Rockin the Bowl. Hello.
Hiya.
Right, you are in charge of Rockin the Bowl Festival. Please tell me some more about the festival.
Oh, in charge is quite a big word. just about hanging on. No, it's a great festival. It's fully grassroots, fully independent, and initially was started by myself and my wife because we think that Sheffield needed a medium-sized open-air rock festival. And we were looking around for a decent site and just thinking on the matter and thinking, what can we do? And then I remembered the old Don Valley Stadium, which no longer exists. It's been bulldozed, but I remember the likes of Def Leppard playing there, Red Hot Chili Peppers, U2, Rolling Stones, some big names had been through there, and it was just no more. And whilst thinking about that, we just thought, hang about, there's a little grass thing next door to it, isn't there? And so we went in and checked it out, and Don Valley Bowl became Rockin the Bowl.
Okay, cool. So how long have you been doing Rockin the Bowl then? How many years?
Oh, Rockin the Bowl. It first came to my thoughts late in 2018.
Right.
And the first one happened in September 2019, the inaugural Rockin the Bowl with the Wild Hearts headlining. It was a one-day affair. Went down great. The attendance figures were respectable for a first timer. That was just between 600 and 700 people.
Yeah.
Last year, well, Lee said soon amended for last year.
Yeah.
But we're back in 2021 and touch everything wooden. This September, it's good to go.
Okay. So what day in September are you actually going ahead?
10th, 11th and 12th of September are the proposed dates. It's sort of, I think, we're quite confident that we're going to sort of get away with, if any, very few restrictions by this time, all being well. And last time we held one, the weather held off and it was superb, but we know that's always a toss of a coin in Britain, no matter what month you choose. But everything, we're praying to everything rock and roll and everything non-rock and roll, just to get it to go. But takes more than prayers, takes a lot of organisation, takes a lot of doing, and a lot of dedication, and sometimes, to a certain extent, nerves of steel to not just call it all a day. Especially over the last few years. Yeah. And every other festival's been in the same boat. We do talk here and there to other festival organisers and promoters, and it's generally the same sort of thing. Everybody's sort of holding their breath and hanging on, but their sort of dedication to keeping it going and keeping the music alive is admirable. And so everybody's doing everything possible to make sure it happens, including us.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've just lost Ramblin' Man this last week, just this year, which is a bit of a shock.
It is.
Not surprising considering the radio silence. I mean, you've been very visual and vocal on what you've been doing, so I think that's helped keep everybody calm and quiet. I mean, you took the decision to postpone last year because of the COVID restrictions. What was the reason for making it a 2-day, 3-day event this year?
It was pretty simple. We knew, like everybody last year, I mean, everybody was in exactly the same boat and nobody could be blamed for anything. And I think last year, just speaking on your mention of Ramblin' Man, last year, everybody that I'd heard of, the fans and the supporters of these festivals were so understanding. Like, you did your best, you told us you'd done your best, and there's nothing you could do about it. And then when it came to being our turn, we thought, yeah, we're going to make it. We're late on in the year. Things will get better. And when eventually they didn't, we made the decision. But what we thought is we want to give them something more, because yeah, it's nobody's fault, but it's definitely not the supporters and the fans' fault. A few other festivals, such as Bloodstock, have done a similar sort of thing. They say, okay, yeah, let's just give them more for the money. We're going to roll over the tickets, but these guys, you're going to have to wait a year, maybe more. Sometimes some people have got to wait. So if they've got to wait that long, give them something that is worth waiting for. And so we did our best with our budget and, you know, in our sort of size bracket. And the only thing we could do is expand it to a 3-dayer. Every single band that we had pretty much rolled over to the following year. We did unfortunately lose those damn Crows, which is unfortunate, but they just couldn't make the date. But as it turns out, neither could anybody in 2020. And by the time the Crows were available, we secured our new lineup. We were actually bringing the Crows back in a separate gig at Sheffield Corporation anyway. Okay, cool. So we've actually, and we thank them very much for accepting that, but we've actually not lost anybody, just gained extras onto the bill.
So who have you got playing over the 3 days, and reel some names off?
Reel some names off, absolutely. Well, the 3 headliners are Cats in Space,
yeah,
who are phenomenal sound recording and superb musicians. We've got Darrow Pesh, which of old Warlock fame, which is a real blast from the past, but still a huge presence on stage. And Massive Wagons, which you get Massive Wagons on the top of your bill, you can't fail. Those guys are superb. And then the rest of the bill, we believe, is amongst the cream of the crop of the new wave of classic rock and the new generation. People like Bad Touch, Hollow Star, Liberty Lies, Outlaw Orchestra, the list just Scam, Bootyard Bandits, the list just goes on and on. As many as we could fit on and still put on a show where bands aren't playing for 10 minutes and then they're off. And then what we've done is, one thing that we like to do is keep it very relevant to our area. So our second stage is Sheffield and South Yorkshire bands, the up and coming bands. And sometimes the bands that have been around for years, but they haven't got the big exposure. People outside the Sheffield region have probably never heard of half of them. So they're in for a bit of a surprise, because there's good quality on that second stage to rival the first one.
Okay, so it's a 3-day event. So does that mean there's camping there as well?
There is indeed camping. It's limited to 300 due to regulations from the council, and to make sure each camping space has got a lot of space around it. Everybody's got a good amount of camping space. You can bring your car in and park it right next door to your tent. No walking backwards and forwards in that respect. And with the exception of 2 tickets, which have just come back to us because the people couldn't camp, it's sold out anyway.
Oh,
so fully sold out camping, with the exception of 2 tickets. However, if the council say, okay, things have eased off enough for you to be able to bunch them up a little bit more, then we will.
Ideal. I'm assuming COVID has caused you a lot of headaches. I mean, just to go back over this problematic, I mean, just highlight some of the real issues you've had other than booking and rebooking bands caused by COVID. I mean, you must have had a headache from day one.
A lot of it's the things that the general public and people don't really see. The stuff around the back. I mean, simply, one issue we had was we had our first aid team fully booked in, and it was St. John's Ambulance. St. John's Ambulance did our first, and they did a great job. They were virtually not needed, but they were professionally were there. And they were booked in for the follow-up one, which got cancelled. Yeah. And then this time, as soon as we said, right, 2021, we're ready, booked them up, and they said, sorry, we don't do it anymore. It's just not worth our while financially. We've finished with that. I'm like, oh, okay. So then we went to St. John's Ambulance Brigade. Sorry, the first one was Red Cross. I do apologise. And then to St. John's Ambulance Brigade, who said, yeah, brilliant, we'll do it. We've heard about it and we're happy to do it. So great, you're on board. And then a week later, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise you'd made it into a 3-day. We can't do that. Like, okay, so we had to go through the whole rigmarole of finding a decent first aider. And all of these other things, all of the infrastructure, all the marquees that we booked, the fencing, the toilets, the security firm, everything from the mojo barriers to the stage itself had to be all rolled over, rebooked, deposits have been paid. So although everybody was astoundingly good to us and we didn't financially lose that much, it's still a lot of re-signing paperwork, re-signing contracts, making sure it's going to be okay. A few people going, well, I might be able to. I don't know myself whether I will even be in business by then. So you'll have to wait. So everything was just sat, waiting. And it leaves you quite stressed. You're on tenterhooks all the time. It's like, okay, I can do it. I know I can do it. The team, the Rockin the Bowl team, are fully behind us and they can do it. And the bands can do it, but that doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen. And so we had to go through such a lot to make sure it happened. And then, of course, putting all your flyers and posters in a bin is quite heartbreaking. And again, oh my word, look at it all. Yeah, all right, we've paid for it, but we, even if we can go ahead, pubs and bars and gigs, the places you usually put in flyers, there's nowhere for them to go. So these, in every way, shape or form, they're finished with. And the whole thing, you need a little bit of strength of character, not just to slump and go, oh, it's just not worth it. I'm so cheesed off with everything. You've got to sort of take a really big, deep breath in the morning, go, right, it's not going to beat us. It's not going to be here forever. And when things are good, we'll be ready. And we are, as far as I know, we're ready.
That is very good to hear. And I wish you all the best for this future event.
Thank
Steve,
you so much.
Thank you for your time. And hopefully I'll see you in the bowl in September. Thank you.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thanks so much.